guys, welcome back to the Gamer Emporium channel. This is Broheen, giving you another Mage spec. So, we're going to take a look at Necro. Necro's kind of fun, however, it's almost a support role with really good DPS. So, I mean, when I say really good DPS, I don't mean like the best DPS in the world, but it's pretty good. So, let's take a look at my spec. Being 61 Necro, 15 Elementalist, 0 Dominator. Dominator can be switched out with a couple other things. I just kind of have it there because of Neural Prod. Sometimes I move that into the macro. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I use something else. This spec is kind of ever-changing for me. So fill up Necromancer. The 15 points in Elementalist should go in 5 in Velocity, 2 in Biting Cold, 5 in Elemental Link, and 3 into Ashen Armor. Now, taking a look at the macros, these macros are kind of big, kind of huge. So, I have a Lich Form and Condemn Corpse Talon macro. This one should be used off of cooldown. You're watching Corpse Talon because that one's got the longest time to come off a cooldown. So when you cast it, the not active function makes you go into your Lich Form, which consumes your charge, and then you cast Corpse Talon, which is a cast over time, not over time, but has a cast timer on it. Hits very hard when you have 5 stacks of Deathly Calling, and then you use Condemn after that to consume them and do lots of damage. So when that's done, this spec is kind of unique. You have to constantly be moving because of the way it's set up. You'll get constant crystalline missiles procs, and you have to constantly be moving, but when you're in Lich Form, you are absolutely allowed to stand still. You have to stand still when you use this macro, but then once the macro's over, you go back to regular DPS again. So, your spam is show Parasite, suppress macrofailures, cast Consumption, cast Parasite, cast at GTAE Grave Rot, cast Crystalline Missiles, cast Reaper's Touch, cast at GTAE Grave Rot again, and I'll explain in a moment, cast Last Gasp, cast Neural Prod, cast Bone Frenzy, and we add in petattack. This spec is 100% dependent on your pet, so if your pet dies, so does your DPS. Grave Rot is in there twice because sometimes you're through that portion of the macro and it can be recast, like when the cast timer comes off of that. If you're casting a Reaper's Touch and you're continuing through the rest of the macro, it'll cast it inevitably. So you just want to make sure that you have Grave Rot up, and that's pretty much it for that. So this macro should be used on cooldown all the time. Basically what it is Mass Grave. You cast Exhume, which is used to cause the next pet summon to be cast instantly, but except you use it with Mass Grave instead, which summons both a Zealot and a Shadow Revenant, both at the same time under your control. So it's a huge DPS increase. Only other macro I use is just a mouse over for Soul Bond. Like I said, utility. This in raid, if you don't have a Defiler, you can use 2 Necros with Soul Bonds on the 2 tanks, if it requires 2 tanks, to intercept 30% of the damage. But beware, that tank takes millions of damage off a cleave, you're gonna die. So just be careful with it. Make sure whoever you're soul bonding knows what they're doing, and make sure, last not least, you have enough health to withstand the link. So, but that's really all I can say about the macros, not too many. So the buffs you're going to use, we're going to get on summoning the Shadow Revenant already here. The buffs we use is Bone Armor, Infection, I have a Necromancer Crystal, and my DPS Trinket. So the pet of choice is always going to be the Shadow Revenant. He has the highest DPS, he's also the safest because he's at range. So we put Putrefy down here in the bar. You should always open with this because it'll give you 5 stacks of Deathly Calling right off the get-go. Feign Death is kind of cool. So it desummons your pet, makes you look like you're dead. You can get out of combat. You can live when everybody else dies in a raid and then just get up in coda. It's kind of cool like that. Loyal Minion's just a deal kind of utility where you take half your pet's or sacrifice half the pet's health to give you a absorb shield. It's not very good, but it's there. Consumption is in the beginning of the macro. It's just here to watch. It's a purge, so it'll only go off when there is something to purge. So it's your best bet. There's no reason to not have that utility in the macro. There's my link and break free, and I have a Lich Form on the button in case I need to toggle it off and not waste my charge. So we're watching Bone Frenzy over here just because we want to make sure that when we're going into Lich Form or going into another cooldown, you don't want to have your spam going off casting Bone Frenzy when you need that charge to use one of your cooldown abilities. So every time you use a cooldown ability with this spec, you want to do it after you cast Bone Frenzy, and it happens every 20 seconds. So for the most part, you're going to be okay. We have our spam, we have our condemn macro, corpse talon, whatever you want to call it, with Lich Form. We have 3 dots, not really 3 dots, but 3 debuffs, damage dots, all kind of the same. Necrosis, ignite, those are your 2 dots. Then you're going to have Essence Link, which is going to increase the pet's damage that it does, and it'll restore health to you as well a little bit here and there. 195 to 216 really isn't anything, but it makes your pet, you'll see 2 things come up when you cast it on something. So if we're going to put Essence Link on them, we have 1, reduces healing, increases damage from the caster and their pet by 4%. So he's already attacking, so I'm going to run and get out of combat because these pets are not very smart AI. Kind of pisses me off a little bit about the game, but oh well, what are you gonna do? So we're gonna clear. Should be out of combat now. Now I'm gonna show you how this works. The rest of this stuff on the bar, we have our Mass Grave and Exhume, we have Empty the Crypts, and we have Possession. The way the rotation is going to go is make sure your buffs are up, make sure your Necrosis, Ignite, and Essence Link are on. So we're going to start with those. Your pet's going to start attacking. Now we're going to jump in place and look at all these Crystalline Missile procs. Once you have enough charge, you're going to cast Bone Frenzy, which looks like happened already. So we're going to go into Lich Form, Corpse Talon, and Condemn. You're also going to hit your Exhume and Mass Grave, all while you're in Lich Form. Your pets do more damage. Any pet you summon does more damage while you're in Lich Form because it was summoned with the damage buff. So now Bone Frenzy needs to go off again if you're watching it right down here. So it just went off. So let's fill charge back up to 100%. And now you're going to go into Lich Form, cast Corpse Talon, and make sure you get off your Empty the Crypts. And it took us out of Lich Form because we used all the charge. You have to be real quick with that one because Empty the Crypts takes 70 charge, so you really have less than a few seconds to get it off. So Bone Frenzy's done, gone again. Make sure your dots are refreshed at this point in time. And then you can go into Lich Form. I went a little bit early. Use your Corpse Talon. Use your Condemn, and then go into Possession. Now you always want to start off with Master's Rage. You are now controlling your pet. Make sure you get Ruination off and an Oblivion, and then the rest are going to be Scourge Bolts. Now when I cast Scourge Bolt, you're going to see Master Rage cooldown go off. So always try to get as many Master's Rage in as you can, and I've found that by cutting half a second or so off of each Master's Rage, I believe you can get you can get 3 Master's Rage in. There I missed it a little bit, but that concludes the rotation. So moral of the story is, wow, 28k with a little bit of AoE. Your pet does AoE, so basically buff up, keep your 3 Necrosis, Ignite, and Essence Link up at all times. Then go in your main spam. Remember, you have to constantly be moving. You have to constantly be moving for this to work. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, a little bit to get used to, but it's perfectly doable. You just saw me do it. It's not that hard. So hopefully you get the hang of it. Cast your Lich Form and damage cooldown, or your damage cooldown abilities. Keep them on cooldown, and while you still have Lich Form left, you always want to use either Mass Grave, Empty the Crypts, or Possession while your Lich Form is up because of the damage increase. But that's it, guys. So have fun with the spec, and hopefully you get the hang of it. Like I said, it's kind of annoying, but sometimes in a raid you need a cookie cutter spec, and this is one of those. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, ideas, ways to make it better. Constructive criticism is always appreciated. So subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you wouldn't mind, please. We need more subscribers due to some giveaways that I want to do, but I need to see some more subscribers and some more people involved. So with that being said, have an awesome night, guys. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks.